Have you ever tried to practice at home by stacking more and more spiritual tasks, only to crash the moment life gets busy or emotions explode? Have you ever wondered why you can chant and listen to teachings and still feel like one stressful afternoon can erase all your progress? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about something that sounds almost too simple. Yet, it is the exact reason many sincere people feel stuck. They do a lot. They collect audio talks. They chant. They set goals. They try to be a good person. But when the house gets loud, when work gets intense, when family pushes buttons, everything collapses. Then they sit in regret and whisper, "Why can I not practice for real?" Here are the two core ideas I want you to keep in your heart while you listen. First, home practice is not built on doing more spiritual chores. Home practice is built on guarding your causes. When causes are stable, results stabilize. When causes leak, blessings leak. Second, the fastest way for blessings to return is not chasing mystical experiences. It is protecting three foundations, so your life stops staring itself apart from the inside. In traditional language, those three foundations are ethics, stability, and wisdom. In everyday language, it means you make yourself upright, you make your heart steady, and then insight begins to grow by itself. And yes, this is about karma, not as superstition, but as the most practical law of life. What you repeat becomes your road. What you plant becomes your harvest. Your destiny is not just what happens to you. Your destiny is the pattern of choices you keep making when nobody is watching, especially inside your own mind. Let me start with a person you have definitely met, and you might be this person right now. I will call him Jay. Jay genuinely wanted to practice. You could see it in his eyes. He was not pretending. He had a playlist of teachings. He had a timer on his phone for chanting. He had a small corner in the house where he tried to sit quietly. He even had a habit of whispering a prayer when trouble showed up. On paper it looked good, but in real life something kept happening. At work he could hold it together. He was polite. He smiled. He swallowed his irritation. He acted professional. Then he came home. The moment the door closed behind him, the fuse shortened. A child crying felt like a personal attack. A partner asking a simple question felt like criticism. A parent texting a reminder felt like pressure. He would snap, not always with shouting, sometimes with sarcasm, sometimes with cold silence, sometimes with a face that said, "Do not talk to me." Then later, when the house finally went quiet, guilt arrived. Jay would sit on the couch and feel the same thought every week. I am failing. I am not a real practitioner. I am hopeless. Then, in that guilt, he would do what many sincere people do. He would add more tasks, more chanting, more videos, more promises, more vows, more spiritual productivity. It felt like progress, but it was actually compensation. One day Jay said to someone older in practice, "The hardest thing for me is emotion. I can still act okay outside, but at home I explode. Then I regret it. Then I hate myself. Then I believe I am beyond saving." The older practitioner asked him a question, not to shame him, but to locate the real leak. "What do you think you are missing?" Jay thought for a long time and said, "Patience." The older practitioner said, "You are not missing patience. You are missing discipline. You are missing ethical restraint. You are missing the first foundation." Jay looked confused. He said, "I am not doing crimes. I am not hurting people on purpose. I am not stealing. I am not setting fires. What do you mean I am missing ethics?" This moment is where most people wake up, because many people misunderstand what ethical restraint really means in daily life. They think ethics is only about big actions, the kind of actions that would put you in trouble with the law. But spiritual ethics is also about the invisible choices you make before the big actions ever appear. Ethics is the clean choice system that protects you from creating regret. It is the decision to not weaponize your words when you are irritated. It is the decision to not punish your family with your mood. It is the decision to not lie just to look good. It is the decision to not treat desire as an excuse to cross boundaries. It is the decision to not feed resentment as if resentment is nourishment. And here is the part that many people do not want to hear, because it is both gentle and strict. Ethics is not there to limit your happiness. Ethics is there to protect you from creating the kind of karma that destroys your happiness later. If you want blessings to return steadily, you stop leaking your blessings through careless actions, careless speech, and careless mental habits. This is why in many teachings they talk about the 3 doors of karma: body, speech, and mind. Most people focus on body only. They forget that speech and mind are where most daily karma is created at home. Your home is where you talk freely. Your home is where your guard drops. Your home is where you show your real habits. That is why home practice is real practice. Now, Jay heard all of this and still felt unsure. So the older practitioner made it extremely practical. He said, "When you get angry at home, do you protect your speech or do you throw words like knives?" Jay admitted that he threw words. He said, "Then that is where your practice begins, not in adding more chanting, but in guarding speech, because speech creates relationships, and relationships create your daily environment, and your daily environment shapes your mind. You can chant for an hour, but if you destroy the atmosphere of your home with harsh speech, you are planting agitation, and agitation will come back to you like echo. That echo is not punishment, it is cause and effect. This is the first foundation." Then the older practitioner took it deeper, because he knew people often become too abstract. He explained that for a house to stand, it needs pillars. In home practice, the basic pillars are simple moral boundaries like not harming, not taking what is not given, not using sexuality to cross lines undamage trust, and not lying. Many people hear those and think, "I already do that, so I am fine." But the deeper meaning is what matters. Not harming is not only about physical harm, it is also about emotional harm. It is about not turning your frustration into a storm that hits the people closest to you. It is about not using your tone to crush someone. It is about not making your child afraid of your mood. It is about not making your partner feel unsafe to speak. Not taking what is not given is not only money. It is also energy. It is also attention. It is also time. It is also the subtle habit of taking patience from others without offering it back. It is taking emotional labor from someone while giving them contempt. Not crossing sexual boundaries is not only an obvious betrayal. It is also the subtle habit of feeding the need for stimulation at the cost of respect. It is the habit of flirting with danger because you feel stressed. It is using excitement like medicine, and then being shocked when trust breaks. Not lying is not only big lies. It is also the daily habit of twisting truth to avoid responsibility. It is the habit of acting innocent while you know your tone was cruel. It is the habit of pretending you are fine while you silently punish people. It is the habit of telling yourself stories that make you look like the victim so you never have to change. When Jay heard ethics described this way, he finally understood why his practice kept collapsing. He was building a roof of spiritual tasks, but the pillars were cracked. The roof cannot stand. And here is the beautiful part. Once pillars are stable, blessings start returning in a steady way, not always as money, not always as luck, but as something more precious. The home becomes calmer, conflicts become fewer, your body holds less tension, your mind has fewer storms, your relationships feel safer, your sleep improves. These are blessings too, and they are the kind that support awakening. Now, after ethics, the older practitioner told Jay about the second foundation, stability. Stability is not a mystical trance. Stability is the ability to not flip your life upside down every time an emotion rises. Stability is the ability to stay present when something triggers you. It is the ability to breathe before you speak. It is the ability to feel heat in the chest and not obey it like a command. It is the ability to be in a fast modern life and still return to the now. People often believe stability comes from long meditation sessions. That can help, but for home practice, there is an even more direct method. Because home life is constant input, screens, messages, noise, opinions, arguments, temptation, comparison, endless stimulation. The older practitioner said something that Jay did not expect. Your mind is not unstable because you do not sit enough. Your mind is unstable because you keep feeding it in instability all day. You input agitation, then you wonder why you feel agitated. You input gossip, then you wonder why your mind is restless. You input constant entertainment, then you wonder why silence feels unbearable. You input rage and comparison, then you wonder why your heart feels heavy. So stability begins with guarding your senses. It means you do not let your eyes and ears and mind consume everything without choice. You do not need to escape the world. You need to stop letting the world run wild inside your nervous system. This is where many people discover a harsh truth that is actually liberating. If you want a calm mind, you must practice selective input. Jay resisted at first. He said, "But I need to relax. I need my shows. I need my scrolling. I need something to numb the pressure." The older practitioner did not scold him. He simply said, "Then understand the trade. You are buying temporary numbness with long-term instability. If you want a different outcome, choose a different purchase." That sentence stayed with Jay for weeks because he began to see it. He would scroll for 40 minutes, then feel more scattered. He would watch intense clips, then feel tense. He would listen to drama, then bring drama into his tone. So he tried an experiment, not a perfect lifestyle, just a small shift. In the morning, before touching his phone, he sat on the edge of the bed and took 10 slow breaths, not spiritual performance, just breathing. He placed one hand on the chest and felt the body. Then he whispered one intention for the day. "May I be steady. May I speak gently. May I not create regret." 10 breaths felt too small to matter, but that is exactly why it worked. It was realistic. It was repeatable. And repetition is what builds a new road in the mind. During the day, he made another small shift. Instead of feeding his mind constant noise during every break, he protected one short pocket of silence. Sometimes it was just walking to get water without headphones. Sometimes it was eating one meal without scrolling. Sometimes it was sitting in his car for 2 minutes after work, feeling his breath before walking into the house. This became his steering wheel. And here is what happened. When he entered the home, the transition was smoother. He was less likely to dump the whole day onto his family. The home no longer felt like a battlefield where all his suppressed emotions exploded. That is stability. Now comes the third foundation, wisdom. Wisdom is not intelligence. Wisdom is correct view. Without correct view, you can do spiritual tasks and still walk in circles. You can chant and still cling. You can meditate and still judge. You can study and still be arrogant. You can behave nicely and still be filled with hidden resentment. Wisdom is the mind that sees cause and effect clearly. Wisdom sees impermanence. Wisdom sees how grasping creates suffering. Wisdom sees how pride creates isolation. Wisdom sees how anger burns the one who carries it. Wisdom sees the difference between solving a problem and attacking a person. The older practitioner explained wisdom to Jay with a very vivid image. He said, "Ethics is your guardrail. It prevents you from driving off a cliff. Stability is your steering wheel. It keeps you from swerving wildly. Wisdom is your navigation. It shows you the right direction, so you do not drive in circles for years." Jay nodded, but he still needed a concrete example. So the older practitioner gave him a story. He described a manager whose employee made a serious mistake. The old habit would be to explode and crush the person, but the manager practiced the three foundations in real time. First, he protected ethics, meaning he guarded his speech. He did not humiliate. He did not curse. He did not attack character. He did not use anger as a weapon. Second, he built stability in the moment. He slowed his breathing. He sat down. He let the nervous system settle enough to think clearly. Third, he used wisdom. He asked himself, "What am I trying to solve? The person or the problem? Am I responding to emotion or building a solution?" Then he spoke firmly but cleanly. He held accountability without hatred. He addressed consequences without destroying dignity. The result was powerful. The employee did not rebel. The team did not fear him. Trust increased. The work improved. The atmosphere became safer. This is home practice in the wild. Because if you can do this at work, you can do it at home. And home is where it matters most. Because home is where you build your daily karma. Now, I want to bring this back into the living room, into the kitchen, into the hallway, into the exact moment you normally lose it. Imagine you just walked in. The house is loud. A child is crying. A partner is stressed. A parent is calling. And your mind starts preparing its usual detour. I work all day and nobody respects me. I cannot handle this noise. Why is it always me? I deserve peace. I deserve silence. In that moment, if you do not have foundations, you will react automatically. You will throw words. You will slam doors. You will roll your eyes. You will shame someone. You will make the whole house feel tense. That is karma being created right now. But if you have the three foundations, you have a different option. Ethics says, do not create regret with speech. Stability says, breathe and return to the body before responding. Wisdom says, what is actually needed right now? Connection, guidance, rest, or a boundary. This might look like you kneel down and soften your voice and say, I am here. Tell me what is wrong. Or it might look like you say, I need 10 minutes to settle. Then I will come back and talk. Or it might look like you take your child in your arms and breathe slowly so their nervous system can borrow your calm. Or it might look like you tell your partner, I want to talk, but we will talk without harsh tone. And we can pause if we get heated. That is practice. It is not glamorous. It is not a special ceremony. It is exactly where awakening grows. Now I want to address a misunderstanding that keeps many people stuck. They think the goal is to never get angry. That is not realistic. Even experienced practitioners can feel anger rise. The goal is to not plant it into the world as harmful speech and harmful action. The goal is to not let anger build a home in your heart. This is why those 3 foundations matter. They stop the seed from turning into a tree. Ethics protects your actions. Stability protects your attention. Wisdom protects your interpretation of reality. When those are guarded, blessings return steadily because you stop punching holes in your own boat. Let me tell you another story, this one from a family setting, because home practice is not theory. I will call her Maria. Maria considered herself spiritual. She did not harm people intentionally. She went to classes. She listened to teachings. She even volunteered sometimes. But her home life was full of subtle warfare. She would not yell much, but she would punish with silence. She would act polite, but her tone carried contempt. She would keep score of every sacrifice. She would replay every insult. She would talk about compassion, but she could not forgive the smallest disrespect. Then one day, her teenager looked at her and said, "You keep telling us to be calm, but you are not calm. You are just quiet and angry." That sentence pierced her because it was true. Maria realized she had been using spiritual tasks to avoid the real work. The real work was her speech, her tone, her mind, and her daily reactions. She began with ethics, not as a set of rules that made her feel guilty, but as a vow to protect relationships. She made one promise to herself: I will not use sarcasm to punish. I will not use silence to control. I will not use contempt to feel powerful. That alone changed the atmosphere. Then she practiced stability. She learned to feel her body when irritation rose. She noticed how her shoulders tightened, how her throat closed, how her breath became sharp. Instead of speaking from that state, she paused, not for hours, sometimes for 10 seconds. 10 seconds is enough to prevent a sentence that takes 10 days to repair. Then she practiced wisdom. She questioned her own stories. Is my teenager trying to disrespect me? Or are they overwhelmed? Is my partner trying to ignore me? Or are they exhausted? Is this moment proof that nobody loves me? Or is this a moment of stress that will pass? Wisdom does not mean you excuse everything. Wisdom means you stop making everything personal in a way that creates unnecessary suffering. Maria noticed something else as her wisdom grew. When she stopped feeding drama, the home became quieter. When the home became quieter, she had more capacity for meditation. Then her meditation was not just an escape, it became a real training ground. This is the correct order. Many people try to meditate their way out of an untrained daily life. But daily life is the real field. Meditation is the lab. If you refuse the field, the lab stays limited. Now, you might be listening and thinking, this sounds like a lot, and my life is already heavy. That is exactly why we keep it simple. Home practice is not about intensity. It is about rhythm. A rhythm you can keep when you are tired. A rhythm you can keep when you are busy. A rhythm you can keep even when you fail sometimes. So here is a gentle rhythm that fits ordinary life, told as a story rather than as a strict schedule. You wake up. Before your phone, you take a few breaths. You remember your direction, not perfection, direction. You choose one intention. Today I will protect my speech. Today I will return to breath. Today I will notice my mind before it drives me. Then you step into the day. You will be triggered. That is normal. When you are triggered, you practice stability with one breath. then ethics with one clean sentence, then wisdom with one question inside. What is the most compassionate and skillful next step? Compassion and skillful. Both. Because compassion without skill becomes exhaustion. Skill without compassion becomes coldness. Later, when you come home, you take a transition pause. You do not bring the whole day into the living room like a storm. You sit in the car, or you stand in the hallway, or you wash your hands slowly, and you breathe. You tell your nervous system, we are entering a sacred place. Even if the place is messy, even if the place is loud, home is still a place where your karma is created most powerfully. Then you interact. You will not always do it perfectly, but every time you notice and return, that is awakening. Awakening is not one lightning moment. Awakening is the habit of returning to clarity. At night, before sleep, you review one thing gently, not to blame yourself, but to learn. Where did I leak blessings today through careless speech or careless mind? Where did I protect blessings today through restraint and kindness? Then you dedicate your heart to tomorrow. May I be wiser. May I be kinder. May I not create regret. That is enough. That is already a complete practice. Now, I want to go deeper into why blessings feel like they return when you guard these foundations. Because what most people call blessings is often just the natural result of reduced self-sabotage. When you stop using harsh speech, relationships heal. That healing creates support. When you stop feeding constant stimulation, the mind calms. That calm creates better decisions. When you stop believing every fearful thought, you choose healthier actions. That creates better conditions. From the outside, it looks like luck. From the inside, it is cause and effect. And once you see it, you stop begging the universe to save you and you start training your own causes. That is real power. And it is also real humility. Because training causes means you stop blaming others for your inner state. You stop saying, I would be calm if my family were different. You start saying, I will be calm because I practice, and my calm will influence the family. This is not about controlling people. It is about influencing the field with your own mind. Now, I want to touch something that many viewers will recognize as the hidden reason they keep chasing more tasks. They do more tasks because tasks feel measurable. You can count minutes. You can count chants. You can count videos. You can feel productive. But guarding ethics, stability, and wisdom is harder to measure. It is invisible. Nobody applauds you for not saying the cruel sentence. Nobody gives you a certificate for taking one breath before reacting. Nobody posts a trophy when you let go of a story that would have created a fight. But that invisible work is exactly the work that changes your destiny. It changes your karma at the root. So if you are tired of feeling like you do a lot and still collapse, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not failing because you do not do enough. You are struggling because you are doing the wrong kind of enough. You are stacking tasks on top of leaks. Seal the leaks first. Then even small practice becomes powerful. Now, let me tell you what happened to Jay after he understood this. He did not become a saint. He still had stress. He still had moments of irritation. But something shifted. He stopped chasing spiritual quantity. He focused on spiritual quality. When anger rose, he treated it like a training bell, not like a personal identity. When he failed, he repented quickly and repaired quickly. When he succeeded, he stayed humble and kept going. He started noticing blessings returning in a steady, almost quiet way. His child became less fearful and more open. His partner became less defensive and more willing to talk. His home felt warmer, his sleep improved, his body carried less tension, his mind felt less scattered, and the most important blessing of all arrived. He began trusting himself, not trusting that he would never fail, but trusting that he would return, that he would not abandon the path, that he would not let one bad day become a new destiny. That trust is a form of inner refuge. In many wisdom traditions, the greatest refuge is not external. It is the mind trained in clarity and compassion. When life shakes you, that refuge holds you. When you lose that refuge, even a comfortable life feels unsafe. So, yes, the title asked where blessings return. They return when you stop wasting them on reactive karma. They return when you stop spending your daily energy on anger, gossip, craving, and endless stimulation. They return when you protect ethics, build stability, and cultivate wisdom. Now I want to offer a closing reflection that is meant to land in your heart, because many of you are practicing at home quietly, without praise, without a community cheering you on, while carrying work, family, health, and stress. If that is you, I want you to know this is not a lesser path. Home practice is not second-class practice. Home practice is where real awakening happens, because it is where real triggers live. Every time you choose a gentle tone when you could have attack, you are practicing compassion. Every time you pause and breathe before reacting, you are practicing stability. Every time you question the story that says, "I am doomed," you are practicing wisdom. Every time you repair after a mistake, you are practicing humility and karma cleansing. This is not small. This is everything. Thank you for spending this time with me. Now, I want to hear from you. When you practice at home, what is the hardest moment for you? The moment you usually break? Is it after work? Is it with your partner? Is it with your children? Is it with your parents? And which of the three foundations do you feel you need to guard more strongly right now? Ethics, stability, or wisdom? Share your story in the comments. Your honesty might be the exact mirror someone else needs. If you want more long-form videos like this, subscribe to the channel and like the video so it reaches the people who feel stuck and ashamed even though they are trying. And if you want to support this channel more deeply, consider becoming a member. It helps us keep making long, practical teachings that you can actually live. Take one slow breath before you go. Feel your shoulders soften. And remember, you do not need to do everything. You only need to guard the foundations. And blessings will return, not as magic, but as the natural fruit of a mind that is finally walking the right road. Life gets noisy. Work, stress, expectations. Sometimes we lose touch with the quiet part of ourselves. Bracelet isn't just an accessory. It's a small reminder that you deserve peace. You deserve moments of stillness. You deserve to hold on to your inner balance. If one of these bracelets speaks to your heart, you'll find the purchase link in the description below. And even more auctions available on our channel's shop page. Pick home the one that feels right.